Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's fireside chat under Credit Goes to Her initiative. This community was built by CRIF to spotlight women in credit and BFSI, and whose perspectives matters to shape the future of financial services. Today, this is important conversation today we have because we embark in our regional chapter in Chennai, which is coming, which is another milestone that we look forward to have in this week. Today we have with us Miss V.N. Maya, Chief General Manager, Indian Bank. She Her journey exemplifies resilience, expertise, and empowerment. I warmly welcome Maya ma'am. Vian Maya is a passionate banker, and she has over 3 decades of experience at Indian Bank, where she now serves as a chief general manager, human resource development, human resource management, and legal. She started her career as a practicing advocate at the Madras High Court in 1990, and she transitioned as a banker in 1995, where she has, in multiple diverse roles, she has been part of legal, credit monitoring, law, and recovery, and zonal management. She has an impressive career where she's had a pivotal role in implementing the SARFAISI Act, strengthening the asset quality and contributing to the key regulatory amendments in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance and the Indian Banking Association. Thank you so much, Maya ma'am, for joining us. The thoughts that you would have, any thoughts, ma'am?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Snehal, and good morning to one and all. Uh, nice, rosy picture you built about me. I hope I live up to it during
I'm
the
sure.
fireside chat.
So, without further ado, ma'am, let's talk about your personal journey with such a the 3 decades of remarkable arc, the journey that you've had. I'm sure you have the enriching experiences along the way, which would help us and our audience to learn from. So, would you like to talk on those lines, ma'am?
Yeah. Yes, Snehal, I joined, as you rightly said, as a scale one legal officer. After practicing as an advocate for 5 years, I joined. The journey has been really very satisfying. I would say that I have learned, and I have also, in not only I have grown, I have also grown with the organization, my bank. Why I chose banking? If somebody is having that question, that is one domain where it helps personally to grow. There is somebody else's business or their personal growth, and thereby there is also the social connect. So this was one area, besides my own advocate line also had all this, but it did not have the business part of it or the helping the society to grow. So that part of it was something new. That was a new dimension. And I was practicing a little on the banking line also. So I chose banking. And after entering into bank, the journey has been, from pure law, then it went to recovery, then I went to zonal administration, then credit monitoring, and then again recovery and legal. And now I am with the human resources management. The main line which I have learned over all these various portfolios I handled has been that connect, connect with the customer, connect with the borrowers, connect with your own staff. But ultimately, it is the human relationship and the connect that makes the difference. Whether it is a personal relationship also that actually makes a difference, and
Right.
in the professional relationship also, this kind of connect brings the leadership qualities to the forefront more, and it helps the concerned person also to grow, and it also helps the institution to grow. This is my, and ultimately in banking, that is the most important essence.
Right, ma'am. I think a very important lesson, what you said, connect with the people. 3 years, ma'am, and being a women leader, now what you are, I'm sure the challenges would have also been there because typically we do see a lot of challenges for women per se to grow and to be at such level and such leadership position. So, What kind of challenges you faced in this journey?
If you ask what were the challenges in the journey, I would say there were in the professional front there were certain decision making which were little critical and which were important for me to come out of my comfort zone. That is as a professional, whether it is that is without any gender specification. Okay, for example, from my pure specialization, I had to take a call whether I have to go to the field or not, but that was a conscientious call and it was a turning point that I should go to the field administration, as otherwise there is no real growth and it will not be a holistic growth. So that was one of the challenges, which a conscientious decision which I took, which I was also helped to by my mentor and sponsor to take, which I will be, of course, would like to touch later on during the course of the discussion. I will tell you how that helps. But the second challenge in the professional growth was the important point was our merger, our two bank mergers. That was two merger among the equals. That brought in lot of challenges. That brought in with challenges. Anytime I will tell you comes the opportunities also. We should see not just as a challenge. We should see that it presents an opportunity. Whenever there is a challenge, if we are able to use that as an opportunity and rise, then there is no looking back at all. But your question was also framed on being a woman. It is a little difficult. How do you face those challenges and come? In that aspect, I would definitely say being a woman, we don multiple hats. Generally, women don multiple hat on the family front, on the social front, on the professional front. Everywhere there are multiple hats to be donned. And when it comes to the innate quality of women, we don't generally compromise also on the quality. Everybody, I think, every woman has got this. Maybe only the degree will vary, but everybody has that innate quality. We will not compromise on the quality and the commitment. That is why now more of the organizations and institutions and industries are looking for women engagement more. So if you see in that manner, handling the family and the professional front could be a challenge for any lady, and it was for me also. I too had my own pack of challenges on the personal front, which I managed thanks to a lot of the family members also, and the quality which has been inculcated in me from my parents and all that, and also the support system which is around you. We should see the world as bright. Then what you get back will also be bright. What we are getting back from the universe is what we pay to the universe. So that way, if we are positive that everything is going to work out fine with all these are will be there, not only till this journey. In future also, maybe another 20 years or so, there will be obstacles, there will be some blockades which we have to overcome. If life is going to be full of roses, then it will become dull. It has to be having some kind of obstacles and thing also to make you understand the value of it also. So that way, my challenges have been on the personal front overcome also. My professional front, these two were my major challenges. Like the main areas where I had to focus was when I decided to move to the field. And secondly, when there was merger happening, digitization happening in our bank, these were the areas where we were going for a lot of systems and processes change. And you have to create the mindset change, cultural embrace. There will have to be an embrace of cultural factors also, because we were from two different regions. So these kind of factors posed a challenge, and we handled it with open mind. The most important thing is you have an open mind and clarity in communication. What your thought is, that clarity in your thought should come in your communication also. Then it puts, it allays all the fears. It allays all the fears of the unknown in the minds of the staff, or in the minds of the customers, or in the minds of anybody for that matter who's facing this kind of a merger. They will also be allayed of all this kind of fears. So that way we were able to overcome. And it was a very satisfying experience.
Very, very well put, ma'am. I think what matters is the self belief. What you, I mean, what I could take from your experience, self belief, and just be yourself and do your best is what I think you pursued in your journey. So, coming to the credit part, and especially for the how a bank typically would strike a balance between the credit access to the women borrowers and even maintaining the strong portfolio health for the even maintaining the strong portfolio health. So both of it, how do a bank kind of look at this and how it tries to strike that balance between both?
In fact, giving credit to the women borrowers will automatically build a strong portfolio, is my assessment. The portfolio will be definitely strong because, as I already said, in many unorganized sector also, if you see, or even in your family front also, if you see, mostly the decision maker will be the uh, lady, though it will not be apparent. It will be a subtle factor, but the lady will be the decision maker in a very indirect manner. She will be running the family also, she will be running the business also. May not be in her name, but it could be in somebody else's name, or the property could be in somebody else's name. So she does not projected as the actual uh, business leader. She is not projected as the actual business leader. So giving credit to the lady or women segment is actually very safe. But the challenge there is they may not have a credit line. They may not have an established credit line which could fetch you the credit score, etc. So you have to not look into the conventional models of assessment or conventional models of credit disbursement, etc. We have to see for the other cash flow assessment. Maybe we have to think of the utility bill repayments, digital transaction history which they have created. All this will be in place. May not be having a a systematic credit score could not have been built over the period. But that should not be a deterrent. That is my view. We should encourage them to participate in the business and it has not that it is new. If you see from the age old days, mudra loans or SHG loans or NRLM loans, all these are for mainly to the ladies who had this community bonding also, as a consequence of which the defaults were very less. The defaults were very less. So the main thing is we should not look for only the systematic established or conventional models. We should look for the various other models and various other systems which can help us to have their credit behavior. We can help us to assess their credit behavior, either two, which will help in the assessing their requirement and their repayment in future also.
Correct, correct. So I think you kind of answered my next question, but still I would like to have more details. So what is the, in your view, how do you use alternate data in building a more accurate and gender sensitive risk framework? So are there specific alternate data that you use only to assess the women borrowers, or in general you have certain um, preset criteria for alternate data usage?
Actually, now the alternate data usage is coming to be applicable for unorganized sector in general. But I was mentioning that for your previous question because women have this problem, those who are not into the business as such.
Ecosystem. Yeah.
They don't have a credit line at all, and they don't have a credit score and all that. So I was telling that we will be looking for market intelligence. We can go for local inquiries. We can see their digital transaction pattern, their salary payments, their SB, or if they have a CCOD account, their pattern, if any. They may not have a CCOD account, but they will definitely have a banking account. So there we can see. Then we can see their repayment behavior with the suppliers or with any other manner. So with all this, we can assess their repayment capacity and their behavior. What is their behavioral pattern in turn? And then we can assess their requirement as to what kind of business activity they are engaged, whether they have any kind of experience there, or whether it is going to be totally new, whether they have some support system. With that, we can go for. But when you say gender sensitive framework, I noticed that when you mentioned that, Gender sensitive framework, Snehal, does not mean that I have to lower my standard. I don't have to lower my standard. I only have to see how to create a new model which will help them also, which will in turn bring out new products, maybe customize some products for them, both whether it is in savings or whether it is in liability side or whether it is on asset side, how it can help them and how I can strengthen them, which in turn will strengthen the community also. Not only the women community, the society also.
I think that is a very positive way of looking overall expansion of credit to the women's. What are your views, ma'am, on especially the communities like this where the women are the core and where women represents, they make whether these kind of communities can make difference to the women and even to the industry, especially such communities which we are part of now. Uh,
If you are referring to this, credit goes to her community kind of
Correct.
acha, ठीक है.
Yeah.
Definitely it helps. I do not know how many are already there as members, but if you see, many people who are in this kind of a community, it is not that we may be interacting directly with each other, but we may be hearing. Once we get interested, we may be hearing about them. We may try to find out about their travel path, their journey, or we may get into, because now it is a community, we may get to know them and get into conversations, get into exchange of ideas, sharing of experiences. These kind of networking happens. These kind of networking happens. It is not directly, always only a classroom study or this is the framework within which you have to operate. Not like that. It is more out of sharing and more out of the confidence they get when they see somebody else rise, or when they see that there is a pathway available in such a community. When we share some experiences or we share some ideas, they know that some pathway is available. Somebody who did not know so far how to approach and who to approach for any kind of loan for a particular activity, they will be now enthused to approach and ask for guidance. And incidentally, Snehal, when we were mentioning about lending to gender specific framework, I would also like to add there one point, though I'm going back to that question. I come back here. My point, which crosses my mind as of now is, it is not just lending to them that will bring the difference. You have to be there for their entire loan life cycle. For especially for the new to banking women, it is very important. It will be making a lot of difference for them. It will build their confidence level also. Through their entire life cycle, there is some handholding readily available for me. I will not be allowed to fall. That kind of a thing, a kind of a gesture. That is where the confidence comes for them to partake first into this. That I wanted to mention when you were mentioning, then it missed my mind. When you were mentioning gender specific framework, I wanted to tell that also, that it is not just lending. It is to be with them, to give them the necessary guidance through the entire loan life cycle. That makes a lot of difference. Now, coming back to your community part of it, the credit goes to her community. Lot of emulation happens. For example, if you take me, from my own bank it was, but at the same time, for me, my mentor cum sponsor was one particular lady, Madam Pampaja Chandru was a mentor cum sponsor also, I would say. See, that is also a very important concept. When you are belonging to a community, it also helps to have a mentor. A mentor is someone who only guides you, who molds you. But a sponsor, when they see an opportunity and they see that this person will fit into that, they get into that role of saying, no, Maya will fit into this role better. Maya can take this seat. So that kind of a mentor cum sponsor relationship could also be built through this credit goes to her community. For me, my ex-MT Padmaja madam played such role. Madam Ranjana Kumar was a mentor for all of us from those days. If you say in banking, for many of us women, Madam Ranjana Kumar would have been a mentor, because the way she brought a turnaround for our bank, the way she brought a difference, being a women leader, one of the rare commodity that time. Women leaders were very rare commodity at that time. So she laid an an impression which cannot be erased at all. But later came Madam Padmaja Chandru in our bank, who was not just a mentor for us, who was also a mentor come sponsor for us. So that kind of initiative also can come from this. Credit goes to her community or any other such bonding, any other such initiative. It's not just me who grows. I also help my other women participants or other women people who come in that line along with me to grow. I help them. I handhold them. I also show them. That is the real quality of leadership.
I think quite deep, I must say, and very useful. What you just mentioned. Um, as you said that women leaders are very rare commodity in this, and the follow-up question is also on the same lines. We really see very few women's on these at the senior tables. And since you also oversee the human resource management and the human resource development as a function, what are your views and why do you see that? Why do you feel that there are actually very few women, first of all, and then what can be done to create more opportunities for women to be there at the senior level positions? First of all, why are they not there? And second, what can be done to create more opportunities for women?
Yeah. See, if you see well, we are talking of a segment where there is more on the corporate segment we are talking. So first, let me cover that. The corporate segment,
Yeah.
yes, entry level is still good. Not, I won't say it's bad.
Yes.
Entry level is still good. On an average, I would say even some certain organizations may even have up to 35 to 40%. In our organization also, the entry level is very good. When women entry is good, their participation is good. Then comes the point where they get into the family relationship, that they get into creating a family, marriage, child, everything. Then responsibilities on the family front increases. So they hesitate to take a leadership role because they feel then they will be transferred. They will be having more responsibilities. They cannot come back on time and take care of their in-laws. They cannot come back on time and take care of their children. See, here I differ a little because the society is slowly changing. If you ask about the rural sector, it's a totally different segment still. Rural and semi-urban is still a different segment. But if you speak about urban and metro segment, definitely the male gender participation is also improving. Even in the family level, it is improving. It is becoming more participative. The blockade is within myself. I don't want to shed that ties. I want to be important. I want to be the only person on whom every family member is dependent on. So, or I take it upon that only I can do it perfectly, whichever manner you take it. Either I don't want to lose the importance or I don't want to accept that somebody else also can do the work, same work better than me also. So, first thing is my mental framework, I should accept that it can be equally done by others also well. There may be initial hiccups, but it can be done. It can be trained. It can be cured. Artificial intelligence is getting trained and cured. So why not even human intelligence or human support? That can also be trained and cured. But we should mentally get prepared for that. That I should take help from others, my own family members, from the support system which is available in the society. I should be able to take help and shed this my own mental demons which are dancing there. Then once I do that, I should be able to come out of my comfort zone. This is actually a comfort zone. I have to come out of my comfort zone and be prepared to take the new assignments. For that, what will happen is I have to constantly upgrade myself. This is second. I have to constantly upgrade myself. Keep abreast with the latest developments. If we are, I'll always say to my team members, don't expect favors. You only expect opportunities. That opportunity should present for you and you should be able to grab that opportunity and use it. I don't want favor being a woman. I'm in no way less is what we are saying. We have now come to saying equal opportunities. That being the case, I should be equally equipped also. So get ourselves totally well equipped also, and get yourself constantly upgraded also. Then the third thing is, when I'm going to go for leadership role, I should see the larger picture, not just the smaller picture. I should be able to see the larger picture. I'm not going to sit and do the micromanagement. I have to take into think the macro level picture. So what kind of training I should give to my, you were asking about my team members, what kind of training I should give them, what kind of assignments will make them visible. The responsibility change is, it should also bring them visibility. It should also bring them into the limelight where succession planning can happen. One thing which can give assurance to these ladies to come out more is, the organization can also have a good transparent promotion and placement policies, so that they get the comfort. I will not be immediately transferred up to a particular age, or I can come back during a particular system. Most of the organizations are now having streamlined processes and policies, but little more tweaking there will give the confidence to the lady members to come forth more openly. And the third last point is that they can also be confident that with the succession planning, they should also be ready to shoulder more responsibilities. So that part of it will make them also the informed decision making, etc., will help them to take a better call.
Yeah, you're right, ma'am. So, ma'am, I think you spoke about the support system that you have. Would like to understand more detail. How did you kind of made it to your favor, or what is the kind of a support system you had throughout back there, which helped you to be at the position that you are today? So, at in your family, or not just family, but otherwise also. What kind of a support system that you built around you to help you to succeed and be at the leadership position that you are today?
If you take my personal level first, um, I have a challenge in walking and all that. Okay. So there I had a difficulty. Second is, my mother was a Parkinsonism affected patient. For nearly 8 to 10 years, she was affected by Parkinsonism, and still we had given her a very good quality life. This happened not just because Maya was able to do it. Maya got very good support system from other family members wherever required, and also she created self-made families. It depends upon your outlook also. If you are able to trust, if you are able, that's what I said, if you are able to trust, if you are able to show them that I am ready to take help from you, in turn I will be there for you when your requirement comes, that kind of support system should be built from the society also, which Maya was able to do. And third, also see that you don't see everything with the yellow glass. First, you see it plain, normal, bright. Then what you receive from the universe, I've told this before, what you give to the universe gives you back in abundance. So that way, when we give it, we will also get back what the universe will give to in abundance. That kind of support system I built on the personal front. My support system on the personal front were more from the society rather than only the family members. My even my pharmacy supplier was a big support system for me, because he used to go sharply at 8 o'clock every day in the evening and give shots for my mother, because otherwise she cannot have her food. But he did this regularly with nothing, no big expectations, but he did it. It was only relationship building and bonding. And the way you respect others, treat others with respect, in turn, they will start respecting us. And for that itself, you will get so many, it will bring a visible difference. When it comes to the professional front, again, what makes the difference is, you show that you are not expecting favors. You show that you are ready to do what is assigned to you completely, passionately. The results also should be visible. It should not be just that I am ready to work, I'm ready to work. The results also should be visible. Then automatically, the mentors and sponsors are not only from the same gender, it is also from the other gender. Ultimately, any organization grows only if the people grow. So
Correct.
it is mutual. It is mutual. So the other gender is also ready to help. Only we think, no, it's always a male world. we are being kept away. No, I don't accept that. There are many people who have helped me, who have guided me, who have made me what I am today, from the other gender also, from the male gender also. I can even name them, which will not be appropriate, so I'm not naming. But at least I would have, if I had two lady mentors and sponsors, I will be having at least 10 to 12 male mentors and sponsors who were there from my scale 1 days. From my scale 1 days. So it is not that we cannot build the support system. We can build the support system. There are also support system without them. Your own peers, your own juniors from whom you learn. Today I learned so much from my junior only. More than my superiors, I would be learning more from my juniors because they are catching up fast. They are able to catch up fast. So my juniors, my peers, my superiors, my mentors and sponsors, all of them together, my team, my colleagues, everything together makes it. Even from the borrowers, you learn. Even from the borrowers, you learn. They have a experience which gives you a learning. So it is only the question of how you build the support system. Maybe I took longer time here.
But I think it was very interesting to know how I think on all fronts you kind of evolved as a person and you developed that ecosystem which kind of helped you to grow where you are today, and it's quite interesting to know that, ma'am, and I'm sure the viewers would take good insights from here. Um, what would be your advice to the young women who are entering into the industry? Would like to hear from you, ma'am.
The young women who enter into the industry first, I would say that you enter with the vision that you're going to be a leader, that you're going to make a difference. It's not going to be a routine. I want each lady to feel that she's going to create a difference in the organization, in the family, in the society. It is going to be a holistic personality. Then only it becomes holistic. I'm not coming here just to earn some thing and go away. Not like that. Come with the vision, come with the ambition. Everybody should have that ambition, some kind of an ambition. If I'm a banker, fine. I'm going to become a chief general manager. I'm going to become the executive director of a bank. I'm going to become the MD of a bank. I'm going to go into DFS. I'm going to go into RBI, whatever. If you are a doctor, you can think of so many, the highest level there of how you can do serve to the society. Every woman who enters into the banking industry, I would tell them first have an ambition and think that even sky is not the limit. Even sky is the limit, I would not say. Even sky is not the limit. So move with that kind of a framework, mental framework, and equip yourself, upgrade yourself. Whatever you do with integrity and ethics. Because in banking, integrity and ethics makes a lot of difference. It is vital also. For ladies, that kind of quality, again, I would say is generally innate quality. But there are exceptions. There are exceptions also. I won't say there are no exceptions, but it is an innate quality. But integrity and ethics makes a lot of importance. It assumes importance in banking industry. And I say this to all my people, irrespective of whether they are male or female. The thing is not that I am a person with integrity is only not when I keep saying that. It is when the opportunity presents and I have the courage to say no. And I have the courage to say no. That is very important. Upgrade yourself on the knowledge front and the technology front and the constant happenings, which are developments which are happening on day-to-day basis. It is happening. What is there today changes tomorrow. So we have to be constantly upgrading ourselves. And third is make yourself visible. It should be that what you are doing should be visible also. And for that, it is not only your communication, your clarity in thought and your clarity in communication is also important. It should also come out in numbers. As I said, you cannot say, I'm working, but my productivity is zero. That should not be the way. So it should be visible in numbers also. Be ready to compete with your other counterparts. I am not here to be given a separate slot and say, run in this zone. I'm running together. So let me run with my other counterparts also. I am second to none, should be there in the topmost and in the bottommost of the heart also. Then nothing is impossible.
I must say, I think it was quite useful for me as well, personally, your inputs. And we come to an end of this session. Thank you, Maya ma'am. I think very, very honest discussion. I personally learned a lot. I took a lot of insights from you, a lot of takeaways to take, and your journey is quite inspiring. I must say, your journey is inspiring, and you personally have been quite resilient, quite empowering, and the way you yourself have grown. I think the lot of the your perspective mattered a lot when the challenges came, or whenever the opportunity came. So you took all of them in a right spirit, and that is what I believe is what matters a lot for any individual, not be it a women or a men, but taking things in a right spirit and moving on with a growth mindset is what I think your journey is all about. Thank you for your time. And to our audience, thank you for joining. We invite you to stay engaged and be there for Credit Goes to Her event for the Chennai chapter. Ma'am, you have
Snehal,
to say.
yes,
Yeah,
Snehal,
yeah.
I want to thank Trify Mark for this opportunity, for being a part of this Credit Goes to Her community. Really, it was a honor and a privilege for me when I was invited for this. Secondly, you were mentioning that because you mentioned about it, I want to tell one line there also, that it was the personal traits which have brought me here. The personal traits are mostly from my mother, who has inculcated this into me. Okay, my mother was spinal cord, so she was one person who inculcated all this. For everybody it will be mostly the mother and the father only, but secondly, it has also been people around me who have been always supporting. So that part of it also has made a lot of difference. I want everybody who's watching the program also to understand what we give to the society and the universe will give back to us. This I keep telling every time. So please be open minded, please be confident, please be positive and passionate, and have a ambition always, and don't stop until you reach to that goal. Thank you. Thank you, dear. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank
one and
you.
all. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. I be tuned to our community page for more updates. Looking forward for you all to attend our Chennai chapter. Thank you.